Hey, what's up? It's Tati and I'm back with another review. This time a review of Rampage. Now, I am ashamed to say this. I am freezing right now. It's 40 something degrees in Florida right now, and the New Yorker in me is like, this shouldn't even be cold. But I haven't experienced this type of weather in a very long time. So right now my fingers are freezing, but I'm being committed here and releasing these videos like I said I would do. So let's go over Rampage from last night. First match of the night was Darby Allin versus Juice Robinson for the TNT title. Now, I already knew going into this that the title was not going to change hands, not in a week for sure, especially after that lovely promo we had from Sting prior to Darby winning that title. So it didn't really make sense for him to drop it so soon. But I want to say something I don't think I've ever realized before until last night. The match was alright, and usually Rampage was a lot more interesting than what it was last night, but for the first time I realized something. So towards the end of the match, we do have Darby Allin hitting his signature coffin drop finisher, and he ends up winning the match. And I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, it just seems like I don't want to say all, but most AEW wrestlers use one fucking finisher, while they could have at least two finishers. And to me, someone like Darby Allin, who is pretty much smaller than just about everybody on that roster, should be having more than one finisher. Now, when you think about Darby doing a coffin drop on someone like Juice Robinson, who's bigger than him, shit, even Samoa Joe, who's even bigger than Juice, like, how does someone like Darby ends up finishing a match with a finisher like that? So to be completely honest, I feel like when it comes to certain wrestlers, they need to have credible finishers where it's like you can believe someone like Darby, who's like the size of a twig, can just throw himself onto someone like Samoa Joe with a coffin drop and actually win. And to be honest, I'll look back at other matches and I'll keep an eye on it, but I do feel like majority of wrestlers nowadays have just one finisher and think that's supposed to get a job done with everyone. I think that does take away the from the credibility of that person winning, when their finisher doesn't really seem like something that should be working on someone. Granted, they've been in the ring, they've been going for 10-15 minutes or so, but even fatigue isn't something that should stand in the way for someone like Darby Allin hitting a coffin drop on Samoa Joe. Should be a reason why Samoa Joe would lose a match. So that's what I noticed, and hopefully they can change that. One thing I do hope is that Tony Khan has people backstage who are really into the wrestling business, especially a lot of these legends who are probably sitting at home not doing anything, who can give some valuable information when it comes to wrestling. And I really do feel like doing something about these finishers will definitely help. Now, I am not saying that y'all need to have like a 5 moves of doom set with your whole wrestling matches. I'm just saying that at least one more finisher will definitely help. Darby Allin needs that for sure. After that match, we have a promo backstage from Powerhouse Hobbs, and I'm just gonna say this now, it ain't really all that. So basically he's saying that the Phoenix rises from the ashes. He's gonna have a comeback and he's gonna be bigger and better than ever. To be completely honest, I find it disappointing how Powerhouse Hobbs, he pretty much got lost in the shuffle. When he split from Ricky, I was expecting at first for him to be the bigger star out of the two, which is not the case. We definitely see how Ricky has gained popularity and become much more a star pretty much every week, and he's great on the mic as well. I do think he does need some work, and he has a great look. However, Hobbs haven't had that same opportunity. The biggest opportunity he had was being thrown in into that match with Samoa Joe and Wardlow for the TNT title, and that was pretty much it. I don't even remember if we've seen anything from him since. And it's unfortunate how, you know, he pretty much haven't been able to make a name for himself. I think people were expecting some bigger things from him by now. So after that, we had the Acclaim come out. I did hear that Max had made a mistake with his rap. I don't know if that's true because it didn't really look like he made a mistake. If he did, maybe they got a chance to do that rap over again. If that was the case, thank God it wasn't live. So it's just a filler segment, which wasn't really all that. Basically, they had like this thing of cement where they're supposed to imprint their hands into it, like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, whatever you call it. And right in the middle of that, as always, no matter whatever the Acclaim is doing in that ring, someone has to interrupt. So this time we had the Gun Club interrupt, talking about their bigger stars, blah, blah, blah. So they went to put their hands into the cement. So while they're turning their backs away from the audience, the Acclaim pulled their pants down. So we have, I want to say it was Austin. He had a, you know, regular underwear, while we have Colt, he had something that I probably have in my drawer, and it was kind of funny, but nothing really serious. They end up running to the back like little girls. To be completely honest, I'm bored right now. I want to see these titles being defended. I'm not sure if any of these two are injured, but these little segments are not doing it for me. After that, we have Swerve Strickland with the Mogul affiliates. So they were with some rappers, and I do believe one of them was P. Diddy's son. They're not important. This little thing that they're doing with these three, I don't really find it interesting, to be completely honest with you. Swerve is probably better as a solo competitor. I do feel like he's one of those ones when we're looking back in 2024 where we're going to have a lot of big things to say about Swerve, and that's if they get rid of this Mogul affiliate thing ASAP, because honestly I really did enjoy him as a partner with Keith Lee. Unfortunately, what happened, I believe, is that the Acclaim got really popular. And everybody loves the Acclaim. And, you know, sometimes you just got to go with what the audience is feeling. And I don't think that it was that the audience was not liking Keith Lee and Swerve together. I think it was more of the Acclaim just really getting popular and over with everybody. So I think AEW made the right call with giving them the titles, but I think it happened too soon with the Acclaim getting the titles. I do feel like Keith Lee and Swerve, they probably would have had a little bit more time as champions and as a tag team as well. I did like their whole feud thing where they were feuding against each other while they were still a team. I just feel like it happened way too early. But nonetheless, I do think Swerve will benefit being a solo competitor. He has the potential, I believe, to be one of the top guys and also one of the biggest heels in AEW. And unfortunately, they're not taking that, they're not taking advantage of that right now. I don't really see why he needs to be part of a trios, but that's okay. Them having another trios on the roster is okay, but they need to scrap it another few months. And yeah, definitely not really feeling that whole thing going on with those three. Up next, we do have House of Black versus Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. And guys, it's not really worth the watch. So I'll just say this. This is one of those matches where, you know, they add things to really add to the storyline. So we do have House of Black that has been playing mind games with these two, which causes a rift between them. So, you know, they've been friends for a long time, and now they're having issues because of House of Black. To be completely honest, this whole match was basically Ortiz and Kingston just not really working well together and trying to get the job done, maybe. House of Black, they do their thing. They're not they're not an issue in this match. I just think that they played a little bit too much into Ortiz and Eddie's problems. I think it took away a lot from this match. We did have Buddy Matthews that came out also with Julia. Buddy came out with a steel chair, and there was a point in the match towards the end where they brought the chair in. Eddie Kingston ends up getting that chair, and Julia, I think she ends up hitting Kingston from behind, and he was going to swing the chair without even looking back. So what I took from it was that he probably believed that it was Malachi or any one of the other guys behind him that was attacking him, and Ortiz happened to look up at that time and see him about to swing towards Julia. Now Ortiz is upset because he thinks that Eddie would hit a girl with a chair. Really weird moment or whatever, but that was a distraction that the House of Black needed for them to get the win. After they end up winning that match, House of Black is outside the ring with Ortiz, and they're like taunting him and all that, and then Malachi says, "You did a good job." And I think obviously this whole match was just to heighten up the storyline. To be completely honest, we can do without this whole thing. I really do think that all these guys are a little bit above this type of storyline. They didn't really need to do this. I'm interested to see where this goes, but if this has nothing to do with either one of those two joining House of Black, which I think no one wants to see, then they can scrap this storyline like right now, because I think it doesn't make sense. So now backstage we have Jade, and she's having issues with the baddies. It looked like they got rid of Red Velvet, so now it's just her and Layla. To be completely honest, I'm bored with the whole thing. I do feel like it's cool for her to have the baddies, but the issue is that there's always issues between whoever she got on her side, and I really feel like that kind of takes away from Jade. So Jade has this streak. She's winning all the time. She looks great. She's not the best wrestler, but she seems to have gotten everything else going on for her. But the baddies seem to be some kind of distraction that she honestly does not need. The thing is that while they're baddies, they have not been winning a lot. And it's like, how you got someone like Jade who's always winning, and then you guys are just always losing. And they kind of look like stooges if you think about it. They're always trying to help her and end up looking stupid in the end. And to be honest, they need to either scrap the whole baddies thing or get like really, really great wrestlers to be alongside Jade that can get the job done whenever she needs help, or if they're just having their own matches that they'll actually win. So now they will look like actual baddies. I'm over it. Anyway, next we have this whole segment thing. Some guy named Paul Walter Hausen comes out, whatever his name is. I'm not even gonna act like I know who that is, but he says he loved pro wrestling. He's a huge fan. He ends up winning a Golden Globe the other day, and he brings it out to the ring, if that was the real thing. So now we have Danhausen who comes out, and he's like, oh, he should have gotten an award for being AEW's like the wrestler with the most sold merchandise. And I kind of believe it. I do like the way his merchandise does look. I just feel like he hasn't won me over at this point. Not to get sidetracked, but I do feel like that injury he had when he broke his leg was unfortunately a blessing in disguise. You know, him being on YouTube and social media really got him over. And now he's part of a wrestling company, a big wrestling company, where I think people there, let me just be honest, there's people who love the hell out of this guy. I never seen a match from him, or never seen anything where he's done that's been like more on a serious side. So I feel like that kind of takes away from him. Now, a while back he was on a pre-show where he was supposed to be this mysterious fifth member to the Best Friends team. We already knew it was him because they actually had said it a few times before that. But when he came out, he wasn't the very nice Danhausen. He was the very evil Danhausen. He looked good. He looked like someone that you can take seriously. And I really think that made people, you know, look at him in a different light. And since then, we have never seen that Danhausen again. It's always been him playing around and all that stuff. Now, I think that's cool, but at the same time, I do feel like at some point, if he hasn't thought about it already, that he's going to want people to take him more seriously, and that very evil character should be around more often, and I think people will take him more seriously. Now, getting back to that segment, we do have what was his name, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh and Sanjay. They all come out and they end up hitting that guy with a guitar. The whole time Danhausen is helpless, leaning against the ring. He has Satnam, who is leaning against him, so he can't move a muscle. And it kind of looks really, really funny because Danhausen is super small compared to Satnam. Well, everybody is super small compared to him. And then we had the best friends come out and they saved the day. And to be completely honest, it's boring. Nothing really interesting about that. If anything, they may end up having a trios match coming up soon. That's pretty much all I got from that. So now let's move on to the main event, which is a street fight. Ruby Soho, Willow Nightingale versus Tay Conti, and oh no, her name is Tay Mello now. Forgot about that. Versus Anna Jade. Now, this match was really, really great. All right, let me take that back a little bit. So they did have a street fight before. Anna and Ty, they had one versus Penelope and the Bunny. And to be honest, I like that a little bit better because they really, really surprised the fans with, you know, how well they did in that match, and about a lot of shock value because they're girls. So I think I enjoyed that match a lot better. And also I do think that they took a lot from that match and implemented that onto that this match that they had last night. I hate when that happens. I want to see totally new things if you're going to do something that you've already done before. But anyway, Tay and Anna comes out. The music don't even stop yet, and Willow and Ruby already comes out and they're attacking the girls. So everything is going great, and within like a minute or so, Ruby tells Willow to get the table. So Willow gets a table and she puts it outside the ramp. So, you know, there's a little height between the ramp being up here and then you have the table being down here. They end up taking that match onto the ring. Now, I do think they put a lot of effort onto this match. However, Ruby was leaking really, really early onto this match. When you have a match where you're bloody, especially in your face, the best thing to do is not wipe it off. So like with wrestling, there's something about the imagery of blood where if you're bleeding like that, you kind of want to keep that image, and even though your face is full of it, you can't really wipe it off. You know what I mean? Like, it just takes away from what happened. So Ruby has to do this whole match full of blood in her face. So there was a part of this match which was, you know, I'm going to say a botch. I don't like to use that word because I do feel like, you know, they're humans and they can make mistakes. However, Willow and what's her name, Anna, they end up going back up the ramp. So now you already know that it's going to be Anna to go through that table because she's not going to be able to lift up Willow or maybe even push her hard enough to get through that table. So now we have Willow, who does a power bomb onto that table. Unfortunately, Willow misses that table completely. No, let me take that back. Anna misses the table completely. Willow ends up going through that table. So yeah, Anna looks like she was really, really hurt. Now I'm pretty sure there's padding on the floor, so it wasn't that bad maybe, but we never got a chance to see these two after the match until after Ruby and Willow end up winning. We did see Willow come out, but we did not see Anna again. Now we did have Tay ends up doing a pile driver to Ruby onto a table outside the ring, so that was pretty cool. because they were outside the ring, it did buy Ruby some time to be able to kick out of that. So then we have Tay go under the ring and gets that black bag. And you know, when you see that black bag, we're going to have some fun. So there's thumbtacks in that bag. She ends up sprinkling them around the middle of the ring. And she tries to put Ruby's face into the tacks. And Ruby ends up grabbing a handful of them and throwing it into her face. She ends up hitting a destination unknown onto those tags and end up getting the win. This was a great match. I would recommend watching it, but I do think the previous street fight before was better, simply because certain things that we saw from the first match was on the second one, and yeah, I think the first one was done a little bit better, but this was a really great effort, and I really hope Anna is doing okay. So on to interesting news. AEW interested in buying WWE. So let's put it this way. Tony and his daddy probably got enough money to buy that. Even if that is the case, I absolutely feel like this would be the wrong move. Now, I know based on wrestling history, people want to see wrestling people buy WWE, and if anybody can achieve that, it probably would be Tony Khan and his dad financially. However, the issue here is that Tony has his own company that he could be doing much better with. Not only does he have AEW, but he also have ROH. People are waiting to see what the hell he's going to be doing with ROH, and I just feel like it would be way too much, very unwise for him to make some type of purchase like that. WWE obviously being the bigger company, it would be difficult for him to manage, and I do believe that they also own a NFL team. I don't know if they have any other thing after that, but that's a lot to juggle, especially you having two wrestling companies. And I do feel like there is so much that they can do to improve AEW. Sometimes I feel like ROH was probably not the best thing for them to get, but I guess they're doing a great job. They're probably just not moving fast enough with the product and what they have to offer. People want to see ROH on a weekly basis. The pay-per-views have been actually really, really great. However, it's not enough. You know, they just came out with the Honor Club where you pay $9.99 to watch past events, and I don't think that's enough either, because I wouldn't pay for it if you're not going to have new stuff on there. So they need to, you know, get the ball rolling with that. And they do have another pay-per-view, the Super Card of Honor pay-per-view, coming out, I believe is in March, and it's just not enough. And that pay-per-view is not going to be available on the ROH platform, which is a absolute bummer if you want to watch that. So you still got to pay the pay-per-view full price, either at Bleacher Report or Fight TV, depending on where you live. But there is just so much to be done with AEW. I just feel like that would be the wrong thing. And then we have people in AEW that came from WWE, or people who would not want to work with WWE who are in AEW or ROH, and that would probably be uncomfortable for him to buy WWE when these people don't want to have anything to do with WWE. And I can understand that. Yeah, WWE is a bigger promotion, but not everybody wants to be part of that. So that could be an issue for some people as well, because just because they're buying it doesn't mean that they're just going to acquire just the wrestlers. No, they're going to have those same people that was part of WWE, from the board to people who's working in the creative team or in whatever capacity. These people, majority of them will still be employed, so that can still be an issue for some people. Now, I just feel like it would be really, really weird if they were able to buy that. If anything, I've heard about the whole Disney ESPN thing. I could see them being the ones to get that, but Tony Khan, you got enough on your plate. You need to be working on AEW and ROH and perfecting that before you can think about anything else. Now, it would be really, really great if they could have bought the competition, but they don't have their shit together with what they have now in order to make another type of purchase with another promotion, especially something as big as WWE. But Tony has been doing a great job. He just needs a lot more experience before he can make a purchase like that. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I will be back with Dynamite on Wednesday.